Recruiter shares biggest red flags when reading a resume. Cleo, is it, from the US? Oh, of course it's a TikTok video. It would be a TikTok video. Oh, goodness. All right, fine. I'm not a big TikTok person. I don't have TikTok. I use like Instagram, Facebook.
A recruiter can easily.
But I don't have an account for TikTok. I don't plan to. All right, let's see what this has to say.
What if I told you that a recruiter can easily tell off of your resume if you're going to stay long term on the job or if you're just going to dip? I'm a recruiter for a tech company and I coach.
If they're going to look at your resume and see if you dip, I'm going to guess real quick. If you have multiple jobs recently in like the last 2 years, you don't stay at a job for more than 2 years, then they'll probably not contact you.
Coach candidates in the interview process. Let me tell you a little secret. Your resume is going to be the make or break. On average, a recruiter screens a resume for less than 10 seconds.
And a lot of those resumes, they're scanned by computers first before they get to the recruiter. You know, the computer is going to screen for keywords before it gets to the recruiter. Be like, all right, this matches 95% of the keywords you're looking for. Here's 20 resumes out of the 200 that they received.
The main things we need to see for us to look at it for longer: clear job titles, the length for each of those roles, last but not least, the consistency in your career.
Clear job titles is very important, especially if it's like the longer the title, the more likely it's BS. Like the senior corporate executive administrative assistant. Like, what does that mean, really? You're really just an assistant, right? And you're just glorying yourself with this long, unnecessary title. Just think of it like this. If you have a title of a job and you say it to your friends and they don't know what it is or what it means, it's probably not real. Just, I'm a sales manager. I'm a mechanic. I'm a sailor. That was me. I'm a business analyst. I'm a writer. Like, just something that everyone knows. Not these made up, job positions we keep seeing all over like LinkedIn and Indeed and whatnot. Because we know a lot of companies post fake jobs out there too. Okay, what was the other part she said? Let me see.
Last but not least, the consistency in your career.
Sorry.
For longer, clear job titles.
Yeah, clear job titles, very important.
The length for each of those roles.
The length for each of those roles, as I mentioned earlier. For a lot of jobs, if you have on your resume a position that you've done less than 2 years in, it's a red flag. It shows that you're not really committed. You're probably going to be here for less than 2 years and you'll bounce. When there's other people who are competing for that position who can demonstrate that, yeah, I'm more likely to stay here longer than my other competitors.
Last but not least, the consistency in your career.
The consistency in your career. So if you keep changing job titles, right? Like 2 years you were, a shoe salesman. Another 2 years you worked in IT. Another 2 years you're working as a photographer. And now you're applying to be a business analyst. They're going to be like, what is going on? So you have no experience in this. You have work experience, sure, but nothing that relates to this job.
If you have, let's say, 4 or 5 roles on there, and each of them didn't last longer than a year, I'm sorry to tell you this, but it's a red flag.
1 year? I was going to go with 2 years. But 1 year, okay. I know there's this whole, during COVID, people were switching jobs because someone else was offering more money. And it was easy then. Now it's not so easy. Actually, unemployment's going on the rise. It's at 4.1% last I checked? So if you're applying for jobs now, if you really want that cozy office job, and say on your resume you have 3 jobs that you've worked there before, they better have very similar job titles in there.
Unless you're a contractor who freelances for a living, it's just not a good look if you're applying for a full-time position. So if you're not getting any calls right now, it's probably because your resume is being passed on and it's just not attracting the hiring managers. Or if you need a recruiter to review your resume, I can help with that, so just reach out to me.
She's advertising, but that's fine. I mean, that's actually pretty good advice. For me, when I apply for jobs, one of the biggest things I do is that I read the description of the job, which a lot of people don't, surprisingly. and understand what keywords are they looking for in the description of the job, and put that information into your resume. Because you know they're going to scan it through a system first and look for all the keywords to make sure, okay, this one should go on the top of the pile. If there's a job you really want out there, remember, there's hundreds of other people who want that job and you are competing against them. So if you really want to stick out, make sure you get the right information, the right description of that job, have it reflected on your resume as much as you possibly can, because you are trying to sell them you. I'm the best candidate. Forget those 300 people in the resumes. I'm the best one for the following reasons. Let's see what the comments have to say. Sarah says, I'm still not staying at any company that won't pay me what I can make elsewhere or won't respect my boundaries. Okay, cool story. Do that. Like, you really needed to announce that? Like, go to that job. Okay, cool. Payne Bannock says, I don't know about this. You just have to be good at explaining why you left. If you could reflect that on your resume, because maybe you were just working in sales and then you got your college degree and you're applying for a job that's most reflected to the degree you went for, right? So that makes sense. Also, cover letters, not all recruiters read them, but a lot do. And that is your voice, your chance to have a voice. Like, if this is how you read my resume, this is what's going on, this is my goal. This is why I'm applying at your position right now and why I want to stay with the company. Jay Guzman says, good recruiters knows how to see beyond a resume. A job hopper doesn't always mean a red flag. I don't know, you probably need to own a business first before you can say that. You need to be a manager, because you're going to put in a lot of time and resources to train someone, develop them, build up the clientele, the trust in the company. It takes time, and it's a lot of investment, not just money, but resources and time. And no one likes it when you just spent all that time with them and they bounce. Sure, this goes both ways, like the company or the owner, are they compensating them correctly? Were they truthful up front? I mean, this does go both ways. It's just a matter of like, how are you screening each other? Both the person who's going for the job and the person who is hiring, and make sure that they're screening them correctly. Like, what are your goals? What are your expectations working here? All of it. Put it out there. This way there's no confusion. And then see if the guy's only here and you know they're going to bounce soon, or if they really want this job. Because it sucks to hire someone and there was someone else out there who would have committed much more to the company, but you didn't hire them. Let me see what other videos she has. I was looking at this one. Before you apply to jobs, do this first.
If you're ready to quit your job or pivot careers, here's what you need to do first. And I'm not going to tell you to apply to jobs first, because that's a waste of your energy and that's a waste of your time. I'm a recruiter and career coach. I go in here and share career advice, and I've helped a lot of people.
She's really young for career advice. But then again, she is Asian and they age very well. So there could be that.
People change careers. Okay, here's the deal. If your resume isn't tailored to the job or career you are interested in, then it's not going to work. The reason...
Well, yeah, it never works. If you have a generic resume and you're just blasting that everywhere, you're not going to get picked up. It has to be like written like, my resume reflects on this job description and title. Like, if you want to be a consultant, your resume better be saying consultant numerous times and why you want to be a consultant and your experience in that. Not, I have all this general experience, please hire me.
Why you get rejected or disqualified or you just never hear back is because your resume isn't relevant enough to employers. And yes, this is infuriating to hear as a job seeker. I know.
Yeah, it is. I get it. Because you always have, every time you apply, you have to update your resume or tweak it every time. Just can't say it, send the same one over and over again.
But the reality is that recruiters are moving so fast, looking at applicants and resumes, hundreds at a time. They're moving at such a quick speed that if they're not seeing what they want to see on resumes, meaning your resume isn't a match to the job or they're not seeing the qualifications, then they're just going to move on.
Who's passionate at looking at resumes all day? That sounds really boring. I mean, I've never worked as a recruiter, but I've hired but I haven't dealt with hundreds and stacks of resumes, right? Only just a handful that come in my way, and I look at them and I take my time looking at them. But if you're a recruiter and you're constantly looking at them, I mean, I can only imagine and speculate how boring that is. And you're just like, okay, this is a job, and which recruiters, I guess for me, like, I work as an analyst. So when I'm looking at resumes, it has to be like analyst to me. But if I give it to a recruiter who doesn't know how to work as an analyst, they're just going to be looking for keywords and they don't exactly know how to match it up. So they're just going through the motions like, does it say analyst on it? This one says it 5 times. All right, put this on the pile. This one doesn't say analyst, so put it over here.
People often struggle with what they need to do first when they're making a career change or a career pivot. It's a common question I get asked, so I just made a guide on it for you. You can download it, the link is in my bio. But the first thing you need to do is not apply to jobs right away. Look at your resume, see what you have going on there, and tailor it to jobs you're interested in.
Well, sometimes I always tell people, especially young kids, if there is a career out there that you want, look at the job description, see what is expected. What degree do you need? Maybe you don't need one. What licenses do you need? Maybe you don't need one. What experience do you need? How do I get that experience so they hire me? Maybe you have to work on your own. Maybe you just follow a mentor. You might have to work for free for like maybe 3 months, but you gain experience and a reference. So if the employer calls your reference, they can say good things about you. I mean, there's so many different ways to build up your personal self. Work hard for yourself so you can apply for that job you really want. There's so many possibilities. Maybe you want to be a veterinarian tech, right? Not exactly a veterinarian, but like those assistants. But you have no experience, so maybe you call one and be like, hey, can I just like shadow you guys, work with you guys? I'm not expecting pay, but can I do for a little bit? Then maybe you guys will consider me. That works. Sometimes it doesn't. I know it bothers people to say, I'm not working for free, but yet you're willing to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for a college education that doesn't guarantee you a job. I'm telling you, it's always a good move to gain experience before the education. Let's see what other comments people have to say on this one. Can't wait for the job market to change back to where hiring managers have to actually read the few resumes they got. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the job. I mean, if it's like a corporate job that made a post on Indeed, they're going to have like hundreds of resumes. If it's just a smaller company that has a website, you know of them and they don't post on Indeed or LinkedIn or anything like that because they know they're going to get so many resumes. Sometimes they have a spot where you apply online or email them your resume and your interest and your application. That always has a good chance of getting hired. But I don't know. I'm not one who likes the filtration process of having recruiters and using computers to look for certain keywords. But I guess it depends. Like if you work in corporate and you really need to find someone, you're willing to take on hundreds of resumes. Okay. But that's it for this video. If you have any comments, please leave them below. I do read them. By the way, I'm no expert in like how to get hired or anything. I'm just saying what has worked for me and how I got through it. So feel free to leave a comment below, hit the like button, subscribe, and until next time, bye.